All right. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. It's been really a long time since I was here doing the announcements, so bear with me if I miss anything. But we are very happy to have you all here in this beautiful Sunday, which I hope there is sun in your hearts, because outside it doesn't look like.
All right.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bezerra. There you go. Yeah. Okay, so before I start all the announcements, I would like to ask someone to do our opening prayer. Do we have a volunteer? Does anyone is feeling like doing the opening prayer? Teresa, can I ask you to do the opening prayer, sister?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, let us close our eyes. Take some deep breaths. We elevate our thoughts. And we come together in this energy current, one of love, one of brotherhood, sisterhood, fraternity, to learn, to listen, to understand, and to be of help. And we say hello to you, Mother, Father, God, divine creator, first cause of all things. And with gratitude, we ask for your blessings during this service, the first part of education, the second part of healing and service, and we ask that our sister Sunshine may be guided, inspired through her heart, sharing this message from on high, that we may all come to better understand the divine laws, the laws of nature, and in doing so, be better directed by our conscience. And with true gratitude in our heart, an attitude of humility, we humbly ask permission to begin this study. And so be it.
And so it is. Thank you, sister, for the beautiful prayer. All right, everyone. So again, welcome to Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. For those who are here for the very first time, either in the Zoom or whoever is watching us on YouTube, we are part of the United States Spiritist Federation. So our belief is around the scientific, philosophical, and moral studies of the Spiritism. And here you will see that we have the service split into two parts. And this is also a guidance not only from Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, but also from Jesus Christ and many other elevated people that taught us that for our evolution has two wings. One is the charitable work and everything that we work towards the other, and the other wing is the studies and the knowledge, everything that we acquire for our own development. So the first part of this meeting, we will have someone speaking to us, and I'll introduce her in just 1 second. And then the second part is going to be a hands-on healing. But one important thing is that for the first part, Please make sure that you are actively listening, because your mentor is already working with you for you to download whatever is necessary for you to work on your inner transformation and for your own development and your own healing, of course. And then the second part is going to be a hands-on healing, where we will meditate together, pray together, and all the mediums from BSH will be working with the spirits on high to give you and to channel all the energy that is needed for whatever healing we are looking for. We do have many opportunities for us to be together, because the healing doesn't happen only from one side. We have to cope with the spirits. And let me share all the opportunities that we have now for us to be together. So we have things happening from Monday to Sunday. By the way, every day at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we get together for our daily prayer. And this is something really important, not only for ourselves, but also whenever we give this vibration to our brothers and sisters who are in need. Everybody is welcome to join. It's in this exactly same link that you joined this meeting. On Monday, we have an internal meeting. It's a healing service where the mediums of the BSH get together and they will pray and they will work on the healing of those who are in need. So if you are in need, or someone that you know is in need, do let us know the name of the person, and if the person is in need of physical or spiritual or emotional healing, because then we will add this person's name on the service. The service takes 4 weeks usually. And we highly recommend the person who is in treatment to not only do the gospel during this time, but also, stay in prayer and meditation along the treatment, so then you can cope with the process. On Tuesday, we have a study book at Divine Light. And the book that we are studying now is The Healing and Self-Healing, a Medical Spiritist Point of View. From 6:30 to 8 p.m. Everybody is welcome to join. We will paste here the link for you to join the Divine Light Zoom link. It's another one. On Wednesdays, usually from 4 to 7, we give fraternal assistance. So if you are in need to, just talk, vent, share, ask something, we are here to think with you and to pray with you. So let us know. Usually this is the time that we have the fraternal assistance, but if you need any other time, again, let us know. We'll be happy to arrange someone to talk to you. And we also have the study of personal transformation. It's another book study, and it happens from 6:30 to 7:30 here at this link. On Thursdays, from 6:30 to 7:30, we have the study of the book Living Spring. And every second Thursday of each month, we have an in-person study with prayer and healing service as well. If you are interested to join, please let us know. We will send you the address and all the information that is needed for you to join us. On Sunday, we have this service starting at 10. And then later today, we also have the book study of the book And Life Goes On by Andrea Luiz and Chico Xavier, through Chico Xavier, at the Divine Light link. So again, if you see the link for Divine Light, this is where you will go Tuesday and Sunday at least. If anyone has any question, you can go to the bshcenter.org and you will have more information there. And the other good news is that soon we will have a new website. So hopefully soon we'll be able to see a new layout for all the information that we are looking now. Good. So last week we said that we would start studying here the book, the Spirit's book. So we studied last week the introduction, and today we have our dearest sister Sunshine that will talk to us about chapter 1, which is God. So those who are meeting her for the first time, she has been a seeker all of her life, which culminated in her finding her spiritual home through Spiritism 15 years ago. She's a founding member of the Spiritual Healing Center in Perry, California, and the founder of Divine Light Spiritist Center in Nevada City, California. Everyone, please help me to give our sister a warm welcome. And sister, please share your thoughts and your light.
Thank you so much, Kiki. Yes. Hi, everyone. So nice to be here. I'm going to share my screen. And while I get this together, I just want to say it's really hard to talk about God. And so even Alan Kardec and the spirits who answered his questions way back when said we can't really understand God yet. So whatever we're saying today is much more limited than what actually the truth looks like. So I just wanted to say that up front. So the Spirits book is the first book that Alan Kardec is the first book of the codification that Alan Kardec put together with the help of the spirits on high. He asked over 1,000 questions, and the answers were cataloged in the Spirits book. It's a wonderful resource to have all of our questions answered and more. However, always on our consciousness level, right? So the spirits give us here and there clear information that they're not telling us everything. And of course, starting with God is the most difficult. So anyway, there are about 16 questions. Instead of reading them, we're just talking about the answers. However, I do want to say that the first question this book starts off with is, what is God? And that in itself is really important to note and to pause, because Allan Kardec chose the word what for a very specific purpose. He did not ask, who is God? And the reason behind that is because God is not a person. And many of us still have this vision of God to be the father or the mother, a parent. And while this helps us to maybe understand God better, it is also easily a trap we can fall in, because God must not be anthropomorphized. God is not a person. So hence he uses the word what is God, which really refers more to a thing, but God is not a thing either, but definitely also not a person. So then the answer that came back from the spirits on high is that God is the supreme intelligence, the first cause of all things, and God is infinite. And right here, however, because this section of the Spirits book is entitled God and the Infinite, there is a little disclaimer. First of all, what is infinite? Infinite means it has no beginning and no end. It's the unknown. All that is unknown, the spirits tell us, is infinite. So this is important. All that is unknown is infinite, has no beginning, no end. However, God is not infinite. It's only an attribute of God. It's not God itself. So this is super important to have that distinction, right? So it's only an attribute of God and not God itself, because both God and the infinite are unknowns, right? We just defined infinite as the unknown. So God is still unknown to us. The infinite is unknown to us. So two unknowns can't define each other. It's like a mathematical equation. Makes sense, right? It's logic. And please, anytime, if you have a question or comment, please speak up. So then the answers are teaching us that there is no effect without a cause. We just learned that God is the first cause of everything. So any effect then must have a cause. Any cause of whatever was not created by humans must then be God, because God is the first cause of all things. It's all really logical, right? So we are, for example, effects, and our cause is God. So in the book, Initiation into Spiritism, on page 23, we also learn an effect is never superior to its cause. So that keeps us on a humble level. So we can never be superior to God. And that's actually really important because I think here on planet Earth, we sometimes forget that. We change God's creations without really looking twice. So it's just important to kind of keep all of this in our minds and hearts. So all humans have an intuitive sentiment of God, the spirits teach us. So all humans have an intuitive sentiment of God's existence, which is proof that God exists. So none of these words are from me, they're from the spirits, right? So we all have an intuitive sentiment. And if we tune in, I think we can attest to that. The sentiment of God's existence cannot be the result of education, the spirits also say, as not everyone is educated, right? So we can't argue, oh, because I have a master's degree, that's why I have an intuitive sentiment of God. No, has nothing to do with it, because everyone has it. And there is a lot of, and we're talking about intellectually educated, not necessarily morally, but morally is part of that. So the first formation of things cannot be attributed to the innermost properties of matter, as such properties are an effect of a prior cause, which has to be God, because God is the first cause of all things. So the mountain that's outside of my house is a formation, and it cannot be attributed to the properties of matter. So there's a bigger cause there. It's not created out of matter. The first cause of all things is God. So the first formation of all things cannot be accidental either, as chance, which is an accident, is not an intelligent agent. So this mountain outside of my house couldn't just have been an accident. All universal forces are harmonious. They're revealing intelligent combinations and designs. Chance cannot produce intelligent effects. Does that make sense so far? Chance cannot produce intelligent effects, nor can matter per se, just alone. The innermost, how did he, in the previous, the innermost properties of matter don't have that either. And then there's something really funny, I thought, but so pertinent, that Théophile Gautier, who is a French philosopher, says, and we find that in Initiation into Spiritism, chance is the pseudonym of God when he did not want to sign. So nothing is by chance, in other words. So we're still dealing with the proof of the existence of God, which is questions 4 to 9. So the supreme intelligence can be seen in its works, which is the effects. So if we look around and we pause, and we don't even have to look around, we can look inside, right? We're overwhelmed by the supreme intelligence, because it's just the order and the beauty in this universe and beyond, and we can't even fathom it, really. So the workman is known by his work. So it's amazing and way beyond amazing, right? The supreme intelligence. And then the spirits remind us that it takes humility to believe. Again, it takes humility to believe. Humans cannot produce the universe. The greater result, the greater the cause. We don't. We're so limited. And if we think we do, if we think we know better, then we need to think again. Humans cannot produce the universe, because the greater the result, the greater the cause. And if we look around and inside, the result is unbelievable. So the cause needs to be that and more, which is God. Then again, in Initiation into Spiritism, page 24, we learn the universe can be compared to an immense clockwork, and its nature, order, and harmony attest to the existence of an intelligent creator. Then part of the proof of the existence is, so how can we see God? Where is God? And then in John 4:12, we know that we hear that no one has ever seen God. So why not? And then here's the answer in John 4:25, because God is spirit. And this we find on page 24 in Initiation into Spiritism. Why can we not see God? Because God is spirit. But it gets better. God is invisible, and God becomes evident through all its works, the creation. So yes, we do see God, right? I mean, just looking even at the screen and seeing all your beautiful faces, I see God. It's really, really fantastic, right? And we can feel God spiritually in the vibrations of its infinite love. So we see and feel God all the time. We're never not. The more we develop our knowledge and spiritual sensitivity, the more we see God. And of course, Jesus gifted us with the beatitude, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. And we know from Emmanuel, and we say it in our preface to each meeting, that it takes two wings to ascend to God. The wing of knowledge that is mentioned here, the more we develop our knowledge, and the wing of love, of service. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the sensitivity, the spiritual sensitivity, right? The more we open our hearts, the more we feel, the more we see. That's the pure in heart. So in other words, yeah, no one has ever seen God because he's not this grand old guy in the rocking chair, but at the same time, we do see and feel God everywhere if we just look and open ourselves. So we're still at the proof of the existence of God. In Genesis, part 1, chapter 2, item 6, we learn that God per se does not appear, but it is affirmed through God's works. So now this is a further, distinction, right? First, John said, no, we can't see God because God is spirit. But then if we look and open ourselves, we do see God in its creation, and we feel God in everything. So, but God per se does not appear, but it, and it's very important, it, not he, she. I know we do say he, she, but hopefully we do it mindfully and not fall into the trap of that God actually is a he or a she. But God per se does not appear, but it is affirmed through God's works. And that is when I look at you, when I look around, and I feel you, and I feel everything around. And then again, back into initiation into Spiritism, for now, it is still very difficult for us to talk about God. The important thing should be that we feel God as our Father Creator, and Father Creator with a grain of salt, right? Father Creator. But if it helps us, then so be it. The important thing should be that we feel God as our Father Creator, always good and just. Let us learn, this is all from initiation, let us learn from Jesus that true worship of God is done in spirit, using our thought, our feelings, and willpower. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth, John says in 4:24. And in John 5:30, another guideline, to worship God is to do our Father's will. That is, to keep its laws. So we have a lot of help. Even though we don't quite understand God, we're still confused. Our consciousness that is not developed enough to really get it. We have steps we can rest on. We can feel and see God. And we can remain humble and know that the first cause of all of this beautiful, harmonious piece of art, and the word peace is already too limited, is God. Everything is God. So now let us switch to the attributes of the divinity. So we cannot fathom God's innermost nature, the spirits tell us. We will only comprehend God when we are no longer eclipsed by matter and when we become more purified, when we stop projecting our imperfections on God. I think that is very important to keep in mind. Even just having the picture of God being a he is a projection of our imperfection, of our limitation, of our intense limitation we have here on planet Earth. Because we're eclipsed by matter and we're still working on our purification. God's attributes are, according to the spirits, eternal, immutable, immaterial, unique, all-powerful, sovereignly just, and good. These are attributes. This is not God. These are attributes. And again, they're limited. They're just they're guideposts. They help us understand God a little bit. But of course, it is so much more vast, right? This is using our extremely narrow language to come to some form of understanding of God. From our perspective, we think that these attributes give us a complete idea of God. However, certain aspects transcend our intelligence and are beyond words, as language is limited to our ideas and sensations. This is what the spirits remind us of in the Spirits book. So we think these attributes give us a complete idea. Humility, but they're not. But nevertheless, we're grateful we have them, right? Because they help us understand a little bit better. Now, let us go over to Genesis, part 1, chapter 2, items 20 to 24, because here Alan Kardec helps us a little bit more from a little bit of a different perspective to understand God. So here he says, given how powerless humans are in comprehending the very essence of the divinity, they can get only a close idea with the help of comparisons that are necessarily imperfect. So all of this is just comparisons, cramming it into our limitation, so to speak. So we're not capable of understanding the essence yet. And so this is what's following now is another comparison that is necessarily imperfect, but maybe helps us even more to understand God. So then he says, let us imagine a fluid subtle enough to penetrate all objects. Being unintelligent, this fluid is unintelligent. This fluid acts mechanically by material forces alone. So can we imagine that? However, now, if we imagine this fluid to be endowed with intelligence, perception, and sensitivity, it no longer acts blindly, but with discernment, will, and freedom. And it's penetrating all. This fluid sees, understands, and feels. This fluid has different labels in Spiritism. It is called the universal cosmic fluid, And André Louis in Evolution in Two Worlds, chapter 1, also calls it divine plasma, breath of the creator. So this fluid that is endowed with intelligence, perception, and sensitivity, acting with discernment, will, and freedom, seeing and understanding and feeling, and endowed in and is in everything, is the breath of the creator. An intelligent fluid filling the infinite universe and penetrating every part of creation. The whole of nature is immersed in the divine fluid. This is God. This is another way of explaining God on behalf of Alan Kardec. This fluid is penetrating every part of creation. Thus, due to the principle that the parts, which is us, for example, of a whole, which is God, are the same nature and have the same properties, the whole itself, God, and since each atom of this fluid possesses thought, the essential attributes of God, and since this fluid is everywhere, then everything is subject to its intelligent action, foresight, and solicitude. This sentence is vital. This is unity. This shows us that we really are all, and again, the language is a little limpy here. We're all one. We're all united. We're all, if I jiggle, you guys jiggle. Because we're all in this together. And beyond this planet Earth. It's vast. It's mind-blowing, really, because the mind can't get it. So let's read the sentence again. Due to the principle that the parts of a whole, which is everything here around us, are the same nature and have the same properties, I think, as the whole itself. And since each atom of this fluid possesses thought, the essential attribute of God, and since this fluid is everywhere, then everything is subject to its intelligent action, foresight, and solicitude. We're never alone. It's the other thing, right? We're just always held. There is not one being, no matter how minuscule it may be, that is not saturated with this fluid. This is all Genesis. You guys, these are all quotes. So, anyone can go back and read the whole chapter. So there is not one being, no matter how minuscule it may be, that is not saturated with this fluid. Our thought is in constant contact with its thought, with God's thought. Our thoughts are like the sound of a bell, which makes all the molecules of the surrounding air vibrate. So that's what I was saying, when I jiggle, everything is jiggling. And the same with you. And so just imagine that. It's incredible, isn't it? So, of course, we're impacted by wars across the world. Of course, we're impacted by everything. Because we're all, you guys feel that? Our thoughts are like the sound of a bell, which makes all the molecules in the surrounding air vibrate. There is not one being, no matter how minuscule, that is not saturated with this fluid. We are in God, just as God is in us, according to what Christ said. This is how Alan Kardec ends that section on providence. We are in God, just as God is in us. And Christ said that. It's incredible, isn't it? So how can we ever feel separate from each other any longer? Or not just each other, from animals, from plants, from rocks, from water, all of our pollution, everything. Our thoughts, every thought is a sound bell. And we know from Emmanuel in Thought and Life that we're constantly under the impact of other thoughts in all realms, right? So here, let me move my little things. So this is from And Life Goes On by Andre Luis, chapter 9, which is we're currently studying at Divine Light on Sunday nights. And here Andre Luis says, so-called dense matter is nothing but condensed radiant energy. When all is said and done, we will discover that matter is coagulated light, a divine substance that suggests the omnipresence of God. So he's using different words and he's saying the exact same things as the spirits in the Spirit book and Alan Kardec in Genesis. The omnipresence of God. And this is an illusion that this is dense here. Yes, it's denser than air, for example. However, it is coagulated light, which is God. And here's an image just so not doing anything justice, but it's just a very limpy, humble attempt to show how this is all connected. And it's so limited because it's already round, and it's so much not round, right? Because it's everywhere. But, you know, it's all just, there's no escaping. We're all united, we're all one. And then lastly, the universe is a current of love in continuous motion. Do not interrupt the flow of its vibrations. And I think this quote that we find in the Spiritist magazine number 31, it's written by the Spirit Emmanuel. Perhaps we understand it a little more deeply now that we understand the connection, the oneness of it all. And this oneness is love, and the love is us too. And it's in continuous motion, and we impact with everything we do, say, not do, not say, think, and act has an impact on the whole. So let us not interrupt the flow of this love vibration. So thank you.
Thank you, sister. It takes a while for us to digest, right?
Yeah.
It is complex. You know what I was thinking is that how come someone can not believe in God, right? I understand that, like, why there are people that still doubt. And one of the things that I was reflecting is that the atheists are so hurt that they have their hearts shut, their hearts and their minds shut. So if we want to help them accept God, we must love them more than ever, right? Because that love will help to melt down whatever is hurting, whatever is like really not enabling to see and to feel, which is amazing. And then the other thing too is how sometimes we just, like, if we all believe, but sometimes, as you said, we try to overcome, like we try to overdo, I would say, God's will, right? Like whenever we are suffering, whenever we are struggling with something that is going against our will, it's not necessarily like we are going against what is like a higher plan. And I'm not saying that it's easy, right? I'm not saying that we should not feel the pain or the struggle, but as Chico Xavier said, the pain is inevitable, but the suffering is optional. So if we can try not to suffer, I think that this is how we will learn with something, right?
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
I also think maybe atheists have a hard time believing in God because they're not getting this more scientific explanation that's more logical. You know, when religions tries to explain it and just have faith in God, and it's not really defined, or no attempts of definition are made, you know, it's so much harder. But this is actually, in its limitation, quite logical, and that might speak more to others' brains, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus said, blessed are those who believe without seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
that's interesting because this argument is so evident that the intellectuality it's so limited. It's we kind of fall into a intellectual attribute that's short because in reality, I do not believe in God. I know
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference because when you keep things under intellectual, you try to compartmentalize everything, to control everything with the limit abilities that we have intellectually. So thank you, Sunshine. That's a really amazing synthesis of what Allan Kardec was able to kind of convey to us what God is. Because it is a supreme intelligence. Again, intelligence implies this human attribute of understanding things intellectually. However, uh, every single being in the planet, the highest mind or the lowest mind, like the savages that lives in the deepness of jungles and all that, we all have the intuition of God. So that's what it is. Intellectuality means seeking an understanding of it. Yeah, so even the uneducated can have a feel or understanding of God. So basically, I appreciate your contribution. And just one thing about the cosmic fluid that you mentioned, that we are immersed in it. However, uh, I think Jesus said that God is in us and we are in God, and vice versa. It represents that what Spiritism also introduced to us through the spirits is that God is aware of every single leaf or hair strand that falls. So that gives an image that we are in God, God is in us.
Yeah.
But thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Charles. Perfect. And you know the word believe, there's lie in it, right? B, lie, V. So
Very good.
be
Very good.
careful with that word.
And every culture has a different word for the same word, right? It's the
Yeah.
same understand, yeah.
all right. Do we have more questions, more comments?
Thank you, Sunshine.
You're welcome.
Thank you for this beautiful presentation. And that is the important thing, that we should recognize God, to know God. And as Socrates said, you should know yourself, then you should know God. And Muhammad said, God is you, and you should know yourself. When you know yourself, then you know God.
Mhm.
And you said it, that is what Jesus says. We are in God, just as God is within us. And you brought the best example, that is the flood, the ocean. The ocean is pure, clear, nothing can make it dirty. And we are like the drops, and we can get dirty, we can disappear. But when we are joined in ocean, we are all ocean. When you explain the water, everything that you can find in ocean is in a drop too. It means that there is no separation between
Yeah.
God and person and the creation. That is all one, that we should know. When we can know this drop of water, what is that? Then we know the ocean too. What is the ocean? Then is very important that the best thing that we have in our hand that we can know is ourselves. And that we know there is difference between I, that we use it to recognize ourselves, and the real I, the truth that is within us. That is the truth is within us, that we are looking for that. We are crying for truth. We want to know the truth, and we don't know that is never but within us, in us. That is what Jesus says. In you. Is in you. You are in God, and God is in you. Where are you looking for? Where you go here and there and are looking everywhere.
I know.
Go within yourself and find in yourself. Thank you very much for this explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Mohsen, I love that you stress that. And, you know, we're still at the tail end of our study for the last, I don't know, almost a year now, maybe it's a little less, of Healing and Self-Healing by Dr. Andre Moreira. And the gist is we need to go, for true healing to happen, we need to get to know ourselves. We have to go within, not from the healing is not from the outside in, it's from the inside out. And when we go in, as you said, Mohsen, we find God. And what is God? Love. And with that, self-love. And out of self-love comes whole love, he says, which is the love for everyone. So that is also our path to staying healthy and to healing. So absolutely, yeah, wonderful, Mohsen. Thank you for this reminder. That is the truth, the closest to the truth, actually, I feel. I don't want to say believe, because we know what's in the word. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You know, I want to say also, you know, we have everything and we're still looking. Right? It's just.
That's impressive.
The simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Right? And we make it so complicated, right?
Yeah. That's what I would say. Our ability to make things complicated, it's
right?
amazing.
Yes.
And you know, Wilson, you just reminded me about something that I heard from Chico Xavier, that he said that water is the closest thing, not thing, but is the closest thing that we have from God. So if we look at, and this, well, those who know me for a while knows that one of the things that he teaches is whenever you don't know what to do or whenever you need, just put water in your mouth and keep it shut until you reflect, and then you respond to something. And I started reflecting on it when Chico Xavier said that it's amazing, because literally water is God. And when we keep God inside of us, we are able to stop, reflect, think how we want to respond to something, and then give back whatever best version we have from something. So when you mentioned about the ocean, I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, that's amazing.
Right. And even in Spiritism, every Spiritist center has the fluidic therapy.
Yeah, which I forgot.
Water, blessed water, right?
Yeah.
I hope everyone has their water.
Yeah, I forgot asking for everyone to grab your bottle of water. Thank you, sister.
Hey, Sunshine, thank you very much. This is a new tool for the toolbox for this week, a new way to tackle everything. Great. I love it. Thanks for all the work you did to put it together.
Oh, you're welcome, Dave. I hope your toolbox is not getting too heavy.
I can't find out where I put it.
Yeah. You know, something that is coming to mind. Thank you, Dave. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But something that is coming to mind is this, that we may consider ourselves privileged to be exposed to all this new information, knowledge, and all that. However, we are in charge with the mission to spread the word or to expand this knowledge, not by imposing it, but by being an example, by demonstrating through our actions this reality. So, because what we see around us and their larger circles, we're still very far behind of this reality of having to make this a better planet, or to be in a planet of a higher elevation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, today, I think we learned how powerful we are, right? We're co-creators. And I don't mean that in an egoic way, powerful. I mean that we really can make a difference. And hopefully we are.
All right. Okay, friends. So, Sunshine, thank you so much once again. God bless you, sister. We'll take the 3 minutes break and we'll return by the hour and 1 minute. Please make sure to bring your bottle of water. Thank you. And I will stop.